All right, guys, what is up? We're live for another episode of the Unplugged Alpha, number 11 in the podcast series. I like to do these every once in a while whenever I get an opportunity. You guys send me DMs and emails all the time saying a certain episode, maybe my book, maybe a consult that I had with them really changed the direction of their life. And I'm joined today by a gentleman here that sent me an interesting set of videos by DM on Instagram, kind of telling me how his life had changed and where he's at today. So, John, welcome. What's up, buddy?
Not much, Rich. Thanks. Of course, everyone that is watching, good to meet you. I'm just going to try to... Do you want me to start from where I found you?
I'll walk you through it. So just follow my lead here. So we're probably going to try to cover this in like 15, 20, 25 minutes or so. Then we'll take some... Then I'll let John go, and I'll take some call-ins from you guys that might have some questions on some stuff that you want to level up on yourselves, whether it has to do with today's show or prior episodes. But I wanted John to hop on, and I invited him, to hop on, and he was gracious enough to accept to kind of share his story and experience. I don't have the videos anymore because you sent them, I think, as disappearing, so I wasn't able to play them back afterwards. But from what I recall, you were living with a single mom.
Yep.
She had 3 kids from 3 different daddies. She was banging all of the daddies,
Not
except I'm assuming that you had some time with her, otherwise you would have left sooner, right?
Yeah.
So she's basically banging 4 guys at the same time, and you're essentially the beta bucks part of the equation. You weren't making a lot of money. Can you kind of fill in the blanks there and just let people know what the starting point was and what brought you to all this?
I was actually making around 100,000 at the time, but I saw myself as a 2 out of 10, right?
Okay.
So I weighed 115 pounds, and she was the hottest girl I've ever met, right? So it was like, oh my God.
115 pounds?
Yeah, dude, I was really
That's
skinny.
light, dude. Like, how tall are you?
I'm 5'9". Now
5'9", 100. Yeah, that's really light. Yeah, super
dude,
light.
I like malnourished, right? And so I didn't eat. Now I'm up to 165 after watching the show and doing the work. But anyway, so I saw myself very low.
What are you at now? Like, what did you level up to as far as your physical appearance?
I'm at 162 in weight, and
Good gain.
I mean,
Okay.
It's just like I don't know if you can see but it's just all muscle. Like I'm getting there. The shoulders are coming in, the back's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
How did you end up with a single mom with 3 kids from 3 different daddies?
I found her on Facebook, and she invited me over, and she looked so good, right? And It was like I didn't get laid for a year before that, and if it was like ones and twos, but. She really ruined my life to the point of suicide, Rich. Like, I fell in love with her because I figured that was the best I could get at the time. And I didn't have a father growing up. I've done like 10 years of therapy to get over that shit. And
what happened to your old man when you were growing up? Did he leave? Was your mom pushing him out of the way, or what happened?
He kicked me out of the house at 14 with my dog. So we went like homeless till I was 18.
Okay, so you had a father until 14, but why did he throw you out of the house?
He just wanted something different, I guess. And he was on prescription pain pills and got addicted. And just a very bad environment. His father did the same thing to him, so maybe it runs in the family. I don't know. But other than that, man, I fell in love with this girl to the point where it was like I couldn't let go once I found out that she cheated on me a lot. Like these guys reached out to me, did me a favor, and I still called her and begged her to take me back. Like it was pathetic, dude.
So all 3 of these guys reached out. You said, "Hey, John,
well,
just heads
2
up."
of them did. two of them did. Yeah.
Hey, just heads up. She's coming over every once in a while.
One of them is one of my good friends now. So
okay,
and he's crushing it in life too. But yeah.
Okay,
but they were alphas. That she had kids with. These were big, strong men that compete. So
how old was she?
25.
And how old were you at the time?
29.
She managed to rack up 3 kids from 3 different guys by the time she was 25?
Yeah, dude. The oldest was like 11. So
Did you have it? What? Oldest was like 11?
Yeah, like when she was like 16, she had a kid or something crazy.
No, 25, 11. You're talking 14, dude.
Not well, 14. She had a rough life.
Okay, so like, were there any like red flags going off? Any bells or any like little voice that said, "Yo, dude, you sure you want to do this?"
Dude, my whole stomach, and that's how I found your fucking video. Sorry, YouTube, freaking videos is I was Googling, should I date a single mom? And I found all this content saying, John, don't, because dude, I knew in my stomach, first off, 1-to-1, if she didn't have kids, I didn't qualify for her. Like if you just took the kids out of the equation, she was 9 out of 10 without kids, right? I didn't qualify, so in my stomach I knew something was wrong. So I started doing research about single moms, and the problem is I found your videos and rejected the advice. Okay, I said,
Why did you reject the advice when you first came across it?
Because I was so desperate to have companionship from her.
Was there something in the advice that offended you, or you just think that I was wrong?
It's just, I just needed to be proven wrong, you know?
Okay.
And I think a lot of men that watch.
So you went looking for answers, you found answers, you didn't like the answers. Did you go looking for other answers somewhere else, or did you just kind of like compartmentalize those?
Compartmentalized, and then after our breakup, I just started listening to you exclusively. Like I deleted Apple Music and just listened to Richard Cooper, and it's changed my life. So
where was like what was the aha moment that like said that like forced you to say to yourself, okay, like John, this is stupid, you know, this needs to stop?
With the single mom or with my life in general?
Yeah, starting with ending that relationship.
Well, it was when so I told her I was done after like I figured out she was banging those guys, and then she called the police on me saying that I broke all the windows in her house, and I was in Arizona at the time. She was in Utah. So I had a sheriff meet me in Arizona to prove that that was wrong. So I was supplying, you know, funds to this woman. You know, I made $100,000 a year. I saw myself as a low value guy. That's fine. But she went like batshit shiz crazy on me. And then she said I was harassing her. I went to like, I was a stalker. Then I broke all the windows in her house, and I just immediately like left states. I just to move away for a while.
So aside from the other guys reaching out to you and say, hey, she's coming over, did they alert you to any other red flags with her that you previously just ignored?
Yeah, domestic violence. Like 2 of them had domestic violence cases against them.
False or real?
False to their perspective, real to hers.
Okay.
So false.
Yeah, so that's aligned with her like walking around the house and smashing her own windows in and trying to blame you for it.
Yeah.
So that's like one of the things that I'm always trying to tell guys is like, like there's all these little alert signals, there's these red flags, whatever it is that you want to call them, that will pop up, and you can either pay attention to them and respect them and then walk away from problems, or you can just cast them aside and say, I don't know, that false domestic violence, that guy was probably an idiot, sort of thing, until it happens to you, right? And then you get a phone call from the police department saying, hey, did you break this lady's windows? And you have to go and meet with a sheriff to go and prove that you're in a different state. So, okay, so you're skinny, relatively well off for your age, and definitely the wrong relationship. Did you just leave a Dear John letter and pack up your bags and leave overnight?
Yeah, no, I just started driving that day and listening to your podcast, and it became a habit. Like I cried. I was like still beta crying. I was weak for about 3 weeks. I had good support in Arizona, good friends that were more red pilled, that were like, dude, John, don't ever do this again. Like that single mom, 3 kids, you know how expensive that is? You make money, you don't make that much money. So
how long were you with her for, by the way?
7 months.
You could have been on the hook if you were with her for longer to pay child support to those 3 kids.
Yes. In Utah, yeah. Because she even said that we were married. Like she had this fake engagement ring she would wear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you bounce, and then you walk away from that crap relationship, and then you change a lot of aspects of your life because you change your physical appearance, and you also change your ability to make it rain. To make some bank. So what did you do there?
Oh, testosterone. So the reason why I was so skinny. So apparently when I was 14, I was put on testosterone, taken off early, so it screwed up my hormones. My body naturally just wouldn't produce any testosterone. My levels were like low 100s or something, like almost to the point where it's like I was a woman. So I got on testosterone. 3 or 4 months later, I started, but I was also going to the gym at this time, but gaining no weight. There was something wrong. And the moment that TRT started working, like people started, I didn't notice it, but people said the way that I'm treating them is more dominant and like mature, and I just started progressing in my business. I've been running this business for 4 years, and it wasn't until like 2 months ago we just landed our biggest contract. So,
did you ever see the Huberman interview? I think it was with Friedman. He was talking about how like the entire purpose of testosterone is to make effort feel good.
Oh yeah, and I tell my friends that. Unfortunately, my best friend who was on TRT, he just passed away, but Like I told him that it makes effort fun. And I get up at 5 a.m. to go running with the neighbors. I live in okay, so I bought a house, right? A really nice house in St. George, Utah, super conservative out here. And my neighbors, they're old. I mean, there's no one my age with a house where I live, and we go running in the morning. My network is up. And it's just like the effort of waking up is more fun. I used to just sleep in all day and then go run to single mommy, right, for companionship. Oh, please take me back. I love you. Like,
Why did they put you on testosterone therapy when you were a teenager?
Because I wasn't growing. I was 5'2" through high school. I just wasn't growing.
Really?
I'm 5'9" now. Yeah. So like I was also smoking cigarettes by like 12. Like my parents were real winners, you know. So
Okay.
yeah, it was. I was malnourished growing up, no protein, and then they put me on testosterone to make me hit puberty. Was the reason.
Okay, and then that kickstarted that, and they pulled you off that.
And then it made my whole body never get used to supplying testosterone. So once I got put on it, it was like frying pan hitting you in the face, as you said. Like everything seems different. Colors are brighter. I work harder. I go to the gym.
Did they ever try HCG as a therapy to restart your own endocrine system, or do they just go?
No, but I get HCG shots with my testosterone shots.
Right, but I mean, like when you were a teenager, they didn't try that to. Okay,
I don't think so. I don't remember much.
Okay, all right. So you've moved out. You left that behind. There's no ties. There's no legal issues. There's no. He played the role of daddy. You got to pay support here. It was only a short period of time for 7 months. You got in. You got out. You learned your lesson. What did you do to change your ability to earn income?
Okay, this is going to sound crazy, but I believe our subconscious can change the way we think. And if you're listening to hip hop music, F women get money all day, that's like for high value people that can do that, but it does nothing for you. So when I'm in the gym, I'm listening to business books, audiobooks, your podcast. When I'm driving, I do a lot of driving. When I'm bored, I'll just drive 12 hours to Arizona to go see friends. And I just fill my subconscious with good content. And it's really changed the way I output deals, structure deals, my motivation. So I don't even have Apple Music anymore. I just listen to
I've said that for a long
audiobooks.
time, that you should turn your car into a learning center.
Call
it a university or whatever.
I got that from you because you can get like a master's degree in anything you want. I got that from you, Rich.
Honestly, you'll learn a lot more listening to good books or podcasts in your car than what you will sitting in the classroom jotting down notes.
For sure. Especially
the most
as an
successful people
entrepreneur.
in the world will share their wealth on audiobook, podcasts. And when I say wealth, like I'm talking about knowledge, right?
Yeah, and wouldn't you rather have like, JC Maxwell talking to you in the ear versus, F women get money, hip hop music? I mean, or Elon Musk podcast. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that'll. I mean, like the whole F women get money is okay. Maybe you might need to shift your mindset. Like, don't get distracted. Go find your purpose. But
right,
what are you doing now that you've figured that out? So okay, so I mean, you turn your car into a learning center.
Yes.
What else did you do aside from getting on testosterone therapy to get your endocrine system working? I mean, you changed your diet. Like, did anything else go? Because you put on quite a bit of weight. I mean, you went from 115 pounds to 65, you said?
Yep. In about a year.
In 1 year?
Yeah, I just tagged you on that post from that starting point. And,
is it okay if I show it to people?
Yeah, please do.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
And I'm bigger than that photo. That photo was last month. I added another 6 pounds this month. So.
Oh, I got it. Damn.
But it was diet, man. It was all diet. Do you mean to pull it up
Instagram
online?
sending me a security code I have to punch in.
Should I just display it online?
No, hold on a sec. I got to put it on my desktop. I'll do it. Come on. Yeah, save info. There we go. So I saw this post here. There was a before and after. There it is. Yeah, you were skinny as fuck. Hold on a second.
What's that?
There you go. So this is the before and after, right?
Yeah.
That is a lot. That is a lot.
Dude, so I spent 30 hours a week in the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I ate a lot.
So, I mean, like, let me ask you this question, because I mean, one of the things that I find interesting is I say, well, here's some interesting information. Like I'll take a map and I'll plot some landmines out, like single mommies, crazy women, borderline personality disorder, doing stupid things that don't serve you. I kind of plot them all out, and people go, "Oh, that's not worth it. It's too much work." And they kind of go down this like doom and gloom sort of black pill sort of part of the
Everyone
internet.
does. I get it. Yeah.
Did you ever go to a place where it was like, it's hopeless?
No, not when I found you. It was hopeless when I was dating her and when I broke up with her. But once I found your podcast, I didn't grow up with a dad, right? So it's like I got coached by the world's best father. This is going to sound really weird, and I don't mean to say it like that, but it's like I was getting coached by like the world's best father all the time. And it came down to business, finance, and women, and it worked. I mean, I think I can't recall one thing that I've followed to the T that hasn't worked that you've said. So, and I mean, my bank account reflects it. My personal houses, I just acquired a gym. So I'm a gym owner now. So, I mean, like you can't make this stuff up. And so there is not one piece of content that did not work for me that you've told men to do. I just think men have to hit their breaking point, do the doom and gloom, and then it's their choice, right? It's like, it's not easy. This was hard. Do you know how hard it is to work out for 30 hours a week? I mean, and eat that much. It's brutal, man. But
yeah, that's what I want
to
to talk about a little bit too, because I mean, you're very skinny. To start out with, you're in a real bad relationship. Your head's on, it's basically screwed on backwards. Right. You weren't making huge bucks, at the time, but some guys just kind of go to a place where they're just like, that's it. I don't want to deal with life. They just kind of go like unplug, and they just kind of like go full on MGTOW, or they just go like full on black pill, and they're like, I'm just going to stay away from all this. It's just not worth it. But like, how did you find the worth in it? Like, what was your why?
I don't hate women. I think women, it's fun.
Women are great, right?
Yeah. I don't hate women. I don't know why people think this show is about hating women.
Women are great. Marriage sucks.
Yeah, I would never get married,
thing.
man. I would never go down the divorce. So my uncle, he'll never watch this, but he made $500 million working for 50 years, right? Mm-hmm. And he sold his company. His wife took half his money within 3 years. And it's like, I got a personal testament to this. And it's like, dude, I would never, ever get married. And right now I have 5 girls I'm dating, and one's in the other room. And just it's easier. They're all cool with it too.
Was there anything that you came across that I had talked about in any of my videos where it was like, no, he's full of shit with that one. That one's totally not true. Like, is there anything that didn't work?
No, but there was a thing with Sean T that I agreed with about spinning plates. Like at the time I was like, Sean T was like, oh, I don't like that word. And I was like, I could see why that would be bad. But then I got over it because now it's in my terminology. But that's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he didn't really disagree with the notion of exercising some options.
He just hated the term. Like,
right.
And I get why he did. He's a counselor. I get it. Like, whatever.
It's a defining term. It is what it is.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's like saying I hate the sun for being called the sun. It's just the sun. It's just what it is, man.
Yeah.
The sun is hot, water is wet, women are hypergamous and solipsistic. End of story. Go do the work.
Yeah, the hypergamy thing, that was so cool to watch once I put on the muscle. And like the girls, because there's the girls that I would see at this gym that when I first got there, I was skinny. And now they're approaching me at the gym, just like, hey, John, how's it going? And it's like a complete 180. I went in there, this little weak guy, could barely bench the bar.
At what point did that change for you? Like, was it when you hit 150 pounds, when you started to, started to get the results?
3 months ago. Yeah. But I've been picking up women. I think probably 2 months after that photo was taken, I started practicing spinning plates, and they were 5.
Was it awkward for you at first? Because I mean, it sounds like you were really
scared.
plugged in. And,
I was scared, man. I was terrified. Of what, scared of them like leaving, right? Because I didn't have too many plates, so I was terrified. I was like, okay, I'm gonna maintain some frame here, and I was terrified to send the text. But guess what happened? She responded with encouragement. Like, I was like, what?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, it turned her on that I put her down. Like, and I don't mean put her down in a bad way. Just like I softly rejected her and made her want me more.
So, okay. So the strategy of exercising some options and dating several women simultaneously in a non-monogamous fashion, AKA spinning plates, has been working for you.
Yeah. Especially today. Like,
do they ever protest or push back? Is there a lot of shit tests amongst them? Do they ever scrap with each other?
Yeah, but so 2 days ago, there's the door. There's the door to this girl. You taught me that. And she walked out and then sent me this long text. Sorry, it'll never happen again.
Right. Comply or goodbye. Yeah.
Actually, no, she's in the next room right now.
Well, she's back
here
now, so she's obviously complying.
Yeah, she's complying. So
What was the fight over? Why did you have to show her the front door?
She was just complaining something about the dog hair on the couches, and I was like, well, you could clean it. And she's like, what? I was like, well, that's the rule. Fine.
Yeah.
It just escalated. It was a dumb escalation. Like it was pointless. But
what about some of the other concepts, where where I talk about maintaining frame, as you're dating women or you get into an LTR? Like, have you found ways to apply that?
I would never get into an LTR, but
okay. But I mean, if you're dating a bunch of these women, like let's say you're dating 3 or 4 of them simultaneously for 6 months. I mean, you're basically spinning multiple plates in long-term relationships, right? So there's
I can agree
always
with
the
that.
concept of managing frame, when it comes to women. Have you been able to test that and apply that? I mean, like the dog issue was basically a shit test, like the dog and the hair and that sort of stuff. And you're like, well, if you don't like the dog's over there, the door's over there.
The door's over there. She did leave. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that that's easy for you to do now?
Yeah, absolutely. And they love it. They respond to it. They respect it. It's like at first, before you find your content, you're chasing single mommies. Like you're so scared that there's going to be no one else out there. There's so many hot women out there. There's not a lot of high value men. So like men need to level the hell up like ASAP because there's a lot of attractive women. I can find 20 tomorrow. So.
Beautiful women are not a scarce resource out there, guys. It's high value, top shelf guys that can put a dent in the universe, know how to make bank, live in a strong masculine frame, have combat skills. These guys are rare, super rare. And it's, it's going to be dressed in overalls and look like work when you start to, to begin to do it. But the payoff, as you can see with John himself, because he did it himself. How long did it take you to turn around your life? Like, what was the total time frame from leaving single mommy to today?
Year.
1 year.
Yeah,
in 1 year you did all that.
But I'm talking 80, 90 hours a week of tough
because you committed yourself to it, right?
There was nothing more important. I was at the point of suicide when I broke up with her. Right, and I had 2 options. It's like, okay, call it quits or go play the game with Rich in my ear. And I was like, okay, I got a coach. Imagine me. It's like the Super Bowl, and you're my head coach, Bill Belichick, right? Whatever. Yeah. And you're telling me to make that pass.
What about the money part of it? Because I always get guys, asking me about business and business ideas. So what about the money part of it? Because you went from $100,000 a year salary guy. Like, what are you doing now? And
no, it
how
wasn't
much you're earning, if you want to talk about that.
It was my own company.
Okay.
It was my own company called Preferable Pups, and we matched people with people looking for puppies. I love dogs, just my thing.
Okay.
And it just was an underperforming business. Basically, I was able to take $100K out each year. But as of 3 months ago, I started applying really aggressive sales skills and basically networking with these high profile dog companies that I can't disclose, but I just signed a $300,000 6-month contract. I have 1 employee, so that's net profit, $300,000 in my pocket for 6 months worth of work. So, and we're able to satisfy that contract on automation. So it's kind of, feel free to check it out. I mean, my LinkedIn as well is open to the public. I mean, I just can't disclose the partner, but
Can you talk a little bit about your pivot, like your shift in your business mindset? Like what would, like, if you could attribute 1, 2, or 3 things, let's say, to the success that you're having now versus where you were at a year ago, what would you say that it is? Or the things that are
playing to win, listening, turning my car into educational studio, right? Mm-hmm. And testosterone. I mean, seriously.
There you go, guys.
I can't put it any simpler than that. I got off another deal call today with they're called Pet Plan, and they're the biggest pet insurance company, and they're so excited to work with me. So it's like just the conversation and deal flow is just dominant, and I use frame control in business now.
Oh, yeah.
And I get a lot more done. Like, it's crazy. And with my family, I've cut off family members due to frame control. So
did you find that hard to do?
No. I hate my family. So like that was the easiest part. Like it was harder to cut off women than it was my own family.
So why would you cut off family? Like, what is it about them where you're like, okay, this is just not acceptable, I'm going to keep them at arm's length? Or is it just like a full ghost, like you're never talking to them again?
They're Mormons, so I'm not a Mormon. Their values do not align with my values. It's very hard to have conversations with them.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
And it just doesn't make sense, right? Like to go over for Thanksgiving and what are we going to talk about? I can't contribute to the table.
What were the problems, if you don't mind talking a little bit about it? Like, was it like constant lectures about your lifestyle and they wanted you to adopt
it's always right. But my family are all entrepreneurs, so it wasn't that. It was just like, LDS. They don't believe in multiple partners. Well, they do, but
as long as you're married to all of them, right?
But they can't do that anymore, like legally. But there's like a traditionalist. I don't know. LDS are weird, but no, it's about values, right? It's like I drink coffee. You can't drink coffee if you're Mormon. And it's like those nitpicking conversations aren't worth my time.
Got it.
No.
Got it. So minimizing stress and all of that freed up more of your time for the pursuit of excellence and doing the work then, is what you're saying. Like you made some discriminatory choices about what you're doing with your day. Like I can listen to Bitches Ain't Shit But Hoes and Tricks on the radio, or I can turn on a podcast or an audiobook. I can spend an afternoon with people that are going to lecture me about my lifestyle choices, or I can,
go to the gym, right?
Close
another. I did have a question for you though.
Yeah.
You talk. I don't date women with tattoos. Well, I'll have fun with them. I have tattoos and I started getting them removed. What do you think? How does that apply for men though? Do you think as a man you can have tattoos? And then I just don't want to sound like I'm contradicting myself or being a hypocrite.
Yeah, I don't think it matters for men because tattoos are a traditionally masculine endeavor. It's always been that way, especially in like there's even tribal cultures in
Tongans and stuff,
Africa and Australia where they like tattoo their bodies, and it's not the women that are getting tatted up, it's the guys that do. So when women do, it's the whole, if I can put it this way, it's women trying to be more masculine and mimicking the behaviors of men, right? Okay. So getting like sleeve tats, for example, it looks fine on a guy, right? Like I've seen lots of guys, I have friends with it. I've got enough scars already, like I don't need any more, so I'm just not into it, right? But
I'm not into it.
When you see women copying those behaviors, it just tells me that something's offside with the mental firmware. And a lot of the stuff that they're putting on their body
is self-mutilation.
Right. Yeah.
I had single mommy, she had a tattoo trying to cover up her scars on her stomach.
I've seen that a few times.
And she couldn't even finish it. It was a half done like bird cage, and it was the weirdest. Whenever I felt her stomach, it was like goo. Like it was just the weirdest. Yeah. And she was the hottest girl at the time that I've ever been with. And now, I say I can easily land a 7 and an 8 when before it was a 2 and a 3 or a single mommy. So I'm more happy with a compliant 6 or 7 than a non-compliant 9, 10 or 11.
Yeah, a pleasant 7 is always better than a bitchy 10.
Dude, I've had them all. I paid for them too. So
Jimmy's got a question for you here about your gym routine.
So I do push-pull leg split. That's simple. And sometimes I do a cardio for Sundays as my day off, but I'm in the gym 7 days a week. If I do anything extra, it's those foo-foo exercises, like you can hit your deltoids a certain way, but that's it. It's just stick to a plan, lift heavy shit, put it down, like Rich says, you're good to go.
Eat well, rest properly.
You got to eat well. Yeah, because my abs aren't visible because of the bulking process. So when I start cutting, the TRT should help with that, with the muscle wasting, I'm sure. And I'm looking forward to that, but whatever.
You can fast, throughout the day, basically. Like you can have your last meal at 6, 7 o'clock, and then your next meal can be like lunchtime, right? Or like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. And
have it as a big meal, because I'm not done growing. I want to hit like.
You'll still grow. You'll still grow, but it's just your body will start to burn more fat while you're in the fasting phase, right?
I like that.
You're not going to lose any muscle like that. Like that usually tends to happen if you're doing like multiple day fasts, like 2, 3, 4 day fasts. Like that's when your body starts to like cannibalize muscle tissue because it's a good source of energy, and a lot of your fat starts to go then too.
Our bodies don't give a shit about us. Like it's like it could take the fat, but it's like, nah, I'll take the muscle.
Yeah, it's about.
I hate that, man.
Yeah, it's about survival is really what your body is.
Yeah,
like there's lots of Evo Psych books. So recommendation for you, since you're kind of going through all this unplugging sort of phase for yourself, in the pinned top comments of all my videos, I got an Amazon link. And there's books there that I recommend with Evo Psych. Yep. Listen to some of those because you're really going to fully get your head around what women are and what men are and what our places and roles are, like basically here on the earth.
Yep.
So as you're kind of like moving through life now it's like, okay, well, I've seen Rich's videos, I've read the book, I've seen, whoever in the space that I collaborate with. Then you start to understand like the science behind it all, right? And the dynamics between men and women, and why you do what you do, and why you have those limiting, those barriers that you put up. You kind of draw like a perimeter around yourself and keep an us versus them sort of strategy. Check some of those out because you're going to like them.
Did you recommend The Evolution of Desire?
Evolution of Desire is a good book. Yeah.
So you recommend it. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I totally recommend that book.
I would say listen to it twice because there's a lot there. It's very dense.
But yeah, the point I'm trying to get at is like, I think most men watch your videos and then go back home and beat off and play video games. And if that's who you are, I mean, good for you. Keep watching the content, supporting the channel, but you can totally turn your life around, but it's going to be the hardest year of your life for sure.
Cool. All right. So what I'll do is I'm going to drop a Zoom link for you because I got my business tier on after the show. I should be done by like 9:30, so about an hour. So if you want to hop in, because I know you had some business questions, I do. You can hop in there. Then we'll talk privately. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Rich.
All right, John. See you later, bud.
All right. See you guys.
Peace. All right. So that was pretty cool. That was a fun little conversation. I really wanted to have publicly on the channel because I get a lot of like DMs from guys, and most of the time it's there's just not enough there really to sink my teeth into and like kind of have a deeper conversation. And sometimes you can't tell if they're trolling, right? But I could really tell that this guy, John, was like the real deal. And he had this shitty existence that he kind of had to unplug and grow from. And he attributed all of that growth to stuff he had watched on my channel, my book and all that. So I thought it'd be a good way to kind of share those stories. I've dropped the join link in the YouTube chat. So I'm going to copy the YouTube link. So come over and join us on the YouTubes. Here's a link if you're watching on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, or wherever else. Just click that and come on over. I pinned the link to join the StreamYard link up at the top. It says call in and ask a question. You'll see a little link there. Make sure you got good audio. I have somebody in the waiting area whose screen name is Mofo without a camera on. You're gonna have to give me something to work with. Like, why would I let you in? You're gonna have to change your screen name, dude. I can't put that up on the screen. Fun times. So that's what's been going on for the last week. The other thing that I've been working on too, before I start, getting everybody kind of piling in to do their Q&A and question series, and guys, bring good questions for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's sink our teeth into some of this stuff. You know what I'm talking about? I want to dive into it. I got this new Sony camera, and I have to figure out a way to sync up the video and the audio, and I've been working on it the whole freaking day. I'm not technically inclined whatsoever. But I got it actually working. The video's phenomenal. The problem is when I talk, it looks like a bad Japanese movie, so the audio doesn't line up with the video movement. So I got to fix that damn thing still. All right, I'm going to make some room here. Kick from studio if you're not going to change your screen name. Again, guys, if you want to call in, you got a question on anything around money, women, muscles, whatever it is you want to talk about, nothing's offside. Women, you guys can call into, old, young, men, women, do what you got to do. Click that link and we'll start to chop up on some stuff before I switch over here to my Zoom group calls after the show. One of the things that I really liked about John's story is, I don't know about you guys, but I've always found myself really interested in like the zero to hero stories, like guys that really like completely reshape their lives from adversity. I'm trying to think of some good books that I went, probably one of my favorite, if I'm being honest, one of my favorite biographies of all times had to have been Richard Branson's Losing My Virginity. It's a bit of a long read. It's a thick book, but that guy's been through a lot of stuff. And in actuality, most of the stuff that you're going to come across with guys that have these extraordinary lives and businesses, almost all of them came from the absolute bottom of the barrel. It's one of the reasons why I've got so little patience for a lot of these losers out there that just sit around and commiserate and try to point and sputter at me talking to guys about doing the work and level up. I just don't have the patience for it because I've done it myself. We've seen John do it himself. A lot of guys out there have the capacity to become far, far better versions of themselves than what they are today. it's not as difficult as you think or hope it's going to be. Some guys actually hope for failure, which is always so bizarre, for me. They just don't want to win. I got rough stuff there in the back. Let's see what we got here. All right, here we go. What do you got for me, rough stuff?
Hey, what's going on, Rich? Yeah,
What's good?
I wanted to jump on here because I wanted to kind of like share my experience a little bit.
All right, you got a story for me?
And yeah, so basically, I went through the whole grinder in the past. I did like professional gaming, and I ended up meeting my ex. My ex ended up going after me, in the past. I noticed that over time when I had kids, when I started doing my work online with the gaming community, I was judged a lot. And that kind of judgment basically brought me down into, I would say, the 1,000, concessions of betaization.
Betaization by 1,000
yeah.
concessions, yeah. It's
go.
one of the references I made in my book.
And basically, through that entire process, I changed from having that strong mindset to having a weak mindset. I used to be the one who was like, hey, we're going to go here, we're going to go do this. And then it started getting down to, after I had kids, hey, your choice, where do you want to go? You know what I mean? I got fat. I tried to get back into shape. I started going back to the gym, but because I was out of shape, I sat on my ass all the time playing games. I didn't stretch. I ended up getting sciatica. And then my wife ended up leaving me because I was just basically injured. I could not sit for a long time. I was overweight. And what ended up happening is after that, I went through this whole entire process where I was like, man, it's my fault. What did I do wrong? I love this woman to death. And so for about a year, it took me about a year, I was going through a phase of, hey, am I going to go this polygamous route? Am I going to get screwed around by these boss bitches all the time? And at one point, I just put my foot down and I'm like, I can't do this. It's against my morals. So now
you couldn't do what exactly though?
I couldn't pursue that route, basically the beta route. You know what I mean? Getting a stamp card of trying to please a woman in order to, get something out of them. So I decided to start focusing on myself, started focusing on my health. I started watching your videos. I started watching like Sterling, started watching Rolo, and I started getting like a better mindset. I'm like, hey, this is what I used to be a long time ago. This is how I got my ex. This is how, I didn't have money back then, but I looked good. So, but basically I started utilizing those tools in real life recently. And let's just say I decided to pursue a friend of mine's coworker, and she decided to join with us. And I used like Sterling's tips, and I was like, hey, I put my leg up against her when we were having a good conversation, and immediately this woman started feeding me. She started cutting the steak, giving me the food. I was like, what is going on here? Then we go out to the bar, and then she's just kissing up all on me, It really shows that if you put in the hard work and effort, you go through the misery. I went through that the entire time. I was questioning myself, and I got to say that yourself, your compadres out there, they helped me out a lot.
How old are you now?
36.
So, like, you can't judge darkness without light, right?
Right.
Same, it's the same thing the other way around too, right? Like, you can't judge what's bright without darkness. So, you've managed to go through both of those things, and you're going to start to notice, if things go dark again on you, like if they start to, if you start to go through a betatization process. I mean, as long as you're aware and you're unplugged, then you're going to notice it and you're going to control it, right? So that's really what that whole thing, distills itself down to, really, is, okay, well, if you're unplugged, then you got to unplug for life, right? Because there's going to be conditions that you're going to get into. Let's say you get into another relationship or something like that. It turns into something longer term. You are going to inevitably receive inputs that are going to try to betatize you through 1,000 concessions, which you're going to have to hold firm on and have frame, right? So that's what we were talking about, before with John as well too. And that's just a concept that guys have to understand. The burden of performance is on men to manage that relationship. You can't defer to her. Well, what do you want to eat tonight? I don't know. What do you want to eat tonight? I don't care. What do you want to eat tonight? Well, what do you want? It's like that shit goes nowhere fast.
Yep.
Right. So it's like, we're going to get this, get in the car, wear the black dress that I like. It's time for dinner. Right. Like that's what women want. And that's truthfully what men want to be. Mm-hmm. Anyway, thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah. And thank you.
Appreciate it. Take care, bro. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's get a couple of these super chats here. Just reading my book. Congratulations. Hope you enjoy it. Out of a LTR for 16 years, she kept pushing me down to not make it rain. Why? I hired people to fill my absence, lost money. Why most women self-sabotage. So let's talk about betatization through 1,000 concessions. Where did I put the damn thing? There it is. If you haven't got my book yet, guys, it's on Amazon. That's the title of the podcast as well. You can get it in print, Kindle, and Audible. There's a few references that I make in different chapters to the betatization process that men go through. And women don't try to betatize men. They just do it, okay? They don't want you to become a worse version of yourself. Women, like we know, women want to be with a giant. Women want to be with a guy that has a sparkle in his eye, and she doesn't want to be that sparkle, okay? But through them doing these little shit tests, they basically want to ensure that you're a competent guy, that their hypergamous hindbrain is satisfied with who you are and where life is going. So they are going to shit test you, and they are going to do certain things which do tend to betatize you. The other thing that ends up happening that also contributes to the betatization process, and I think I covered this in the book as well, probably in quite a bit more depth, because I know there's at least one chapter that I went into it quite deep. When you start spending more time around a woman, like seeing her several times during the week, maybe you start staying over at each other's places, maybe you start living together, sort of thing, her competition anxiety starts to relax, okay? And competition anxiety is an important component of attraction, because when she doesn't know where you are and what you're doing, she automatically defaults to, he's probably with somebody else, okay? Or somebody else could be hitting on him. Or, you can go right down the train of thought when they caffeinate the hamster in their mind. So when she knows where you are at all times, because you see each other so much or you're living together, she's got very little competition anxiety, and then her behavior starts to relax, and then she starts to put you through these shit tests to essentially test your competency, which then goes through the process of betatization through 1,000 concessions. So I've always told this, to many, many men, and I've mentioned it on several of these series, and I have to say it again, is that game in a long-term relationship, especially if you live with a chick or you're seeing each other quite a lot, is game on hard mode. Spinning plates is easy. Dating women is easy. Having a friends with benefits is easy. Things don't go well or she gets annoying, she's going home in a few hours anyway, or in an hour, or whatever. But when you've got to do things together, or you have like a schedule in your week sort of thing, and you have to work all those out, game is on hard mode, and you have to have solid frame in that relationship, right? You have to be attuned to what's going on. I feel like I could spend 3 or 4 hours diving down through all the details, but if you want those, watch Rollo Tomasi. I like to summarize things, right? And then just say, all right, now that we've got the distillation version of it, get out there and start doing that work. Let me get a couple more of these chats. Guys, if you're in the waiting area, I need cameras on, please. And if you can, in the private chat, tell me what it is that you want to talk about. Last Unplugged episode, you mentioned getting a TN visa, but you're not jabbed. I'm not either, and curious how you're planning to travel. I'm in Canada too, and my plans seem blocked by all this Vax Pass. Yeah, I can talk about that for a second. So I got a law firm that's working on setting up a TN visa for me. It's not going to eliminate a lot of the hassle, but it's going to solidify the importance of travel for me as viewed by customs officers and the government. You can have these if you're in like critical services. Like a friend of mine that introduced me to it is basically in nutraceuticals. So he deals with sports teams, with athletes, with doctors, with naturopaths, and basically needs to travel across the border. So he's not jabbed, has a TN visa. He's telling me about it. So, okay, I'm checking it out. I don't know what my experience is going to be like traveling. I've got a event that I should be attending in November if things go well. So I'll let you know after I've used it and what my experience is. But I haven't quite got all the details yet, but I will share them with you later. David says, I'm 17, currently saving up money from a job. I'm going to move out and start a business when I become an adult at 18. Do you have any recommendations? I have a huge desire to become a wealthy entrepreneur like you. Okay, so I get this a lot. I had a guy book me for a consult the other day, and I ended the call very quickly because he didn't have a plan. He didn't have a business, right? So when they come at me with something like, I'm going to move out and start a business when I become an adult, do you have any recommendations? Yeah. Have a business before you start talking to somebody for recommendations and ideas. What I can tell you is get on my email list. Where's the damn ticker? There it is. Get on my email list there. Just go to entrepreneursandcarters.com/red-flags. You can also download the red flag chapter that's in my book for free once you get on the email list. But there's a sequence of emails, and many of the emails that I have on that list are private videos that I've produced over the last few years for community, for Patreon, when I was running Patreon, all that sort of stuff, that I never released publicly. Some of it wouldn't work publicly. Some of it's just really good material, and I just kept it behind the paywall for the guys that were supporting me. I'm slowly starting to release that material. There's at least 1 or 2 videos on that email list in the sequence that goes out that tells you what you should not do in business. So rather than me say something like, hey, here's some advice that I think that you should follow when it comes to, a business because you want to become an entrepreneur, it's a lot easier to eliminate things that you need to stay away from so that you can get really clear on the things that you can do. Okay, if that makes any sense. So hop on the email list and then just download that. Let me remove that. All right, let's see what we got here in a private chat. I got one here from, I'm 18, she's 20. Okay, Daniel, do you have a camera? I see your question. I can bring you on, but I don't see your camera. And if you guys want to hop on, the StreamYard link is pinned there in the YouTube chat at the top right. Let me just drop it in the live chat in case it's not showing up on your screen. And boom, that's a StreamYard link. You can hop on. Yeah, get on the email list. Absolutely. Those guys, get on the email list. The full sequence goes out. I mean, if something goes out that you don't want to pay attention to, just skip it. But stay on the list because there's stuff that I send out that you're going to find useful at some point. I promise you. Okay, Dan, I can't bring you in with that sort of talk in my private chat, and you don't have a camera on, so I'm just going to remove you. Come back when you want to have that conversation. Same thing. It says device is not connected for you 5+, so I got to kick you. Make sure you got your camera on. Make sure you got good audio. Bring a useful conversation piece to have a chat on. If you guys want to throw some stuff in the live chat on YouTube, I'll keep an eye open for something to answer. That was a good point there with the TN visa and the entrepreneur question. Yeah, get on the email list. Getting Jab Beach. What's up, Subble Beach? Normally I've got like 20 of you guys waiting here in the back room, all wanting to hop on, and you always come on in the last 15 minutes, and I never get to y'all, so come on early. All right, while we are doing that, and you guys figure that part out, I'm going to talk again about this. Where is my other link there? There we go. So if you guys didn't catch it, I think it was 2 or 3 episodes back. There's an Unplugged Alpha on supplements guys should consider taking. We covered most of them in there, and we broke them down one by one. There's a few over my shoulder here. You can't really, this damn camera needs to get set up properly, but that's what the lineup looks like. It's basically branded, the same way that I did the book. You can go to the website, just go to theunpluggedalpha.com, and we've got it categorized here different ways. Just pull it up here. Do a quick recap. Yeah, make sure you got your cameras on, and in the private chat, guys, you tell me what it is that you want to come on and have a conversation about, okay? Share screen. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. They're all categorized. Estrogen metabolism, so that's going to help remove estrogenics from your body. Fat burn should be pretty obvious. Foundations, essentials, performance, and testosterone support. Some of these do get sold out pretty quickly from the fulfillment center, especially if I do a cast and guys order and stuff like that. So if you get your shipment and you get something like 3 out of the 4 items delivered, don't worry, the 4th one's coming. It just has to get run through production, and then they have to label it and then ship it out. So you might see it come a week or 10 days later or something like that. So just be patient. But the testosterone support ones are definitely ones that guys should be considering the most, especially in an estrogeneration type of world. Read Dr. Anthony J's book, Estrogeneration. It's just going to help you. Like I was talking to John earlier, the whole point of let me just remove this from the screen. The whole point of testosterone is it makes effort feel good. So when you're firing on all cylinders, you don't have as much brain fog. You're sleeping better at night. You've got proper strength. You got focus. All of these things help you become the best version of yourself. So always take a look at those. Let's remove from here. I got Zahir Awan. Do you have something there in the private chat you want to tell me what you want to talk about, bud? Boom, boom. Love your content. Been watching for years. Chris. Okay, there we go. Married guidance on carrying a conversation. Okay, so this is long-term game. Let's have a conversation. What is happening, man?
Hi, Rich. How are you doing?
Good.
First of all, thank you very much for all your content and guidance. Really love it.
No problem.
I just wanted to ask you about, I remember you mentioned in one video that initially, like a long time ago, you were in a relationship and you were in a situation where you were spending a lot of time, on the phone. And that's something obviously that
Are you married though? Because your DM
married.
says you're married. Okay, married guy. Okay,
Yes,
go ahead.
I'm married.
Yeah.
So, and you said that, obviously that damages the attraction. You're spending so much time talking to a woman. And so in the long-term relationship or in the marriage, obviously you have to carry a conversation to some extent. So what is that degree? How do you carry on a conversation? How do you maintain attraction? And at the same time, not undervalue yourself.
Yeah, got it. So that's going to depend on quite a few things, actually, because, I mean, you could cut back the amount of time like, let's say that you travel a lot and you're on the phone a lot. Like, under what context are you spending so much time on the phone?
Well, right now I'm living away from my family. I'm in Canada. They're abroad.
Okay.
So that's now obviously there's the time difference aspect there as well. But I'm working full time, so that kind of
you have kids?
Limits. I have kids. Yes, 3 kids.
Okay. So, like, do you see them every 3 months? Like, do you travel back and forth to see them, or how does that work?
Yeah, I travel back and forth. They're going to be visiting me. They're going to be, coming back as well. But right now, I mean, we're going to be apart for till probably the end of November. So for a few months.
How often do you guys talk? Like, you're on a Skype or FaceTime. Like, is that what you use, or is it on a phone call?
Daily. It's a phone
daily.
Call
Okay.
or on WhatsApp, a video chat. But we do it daily, basically.
And how long is it?
Well, usually, I'll do it maybe about an hour every night.
And you talk to the kids?
Yeah, bedtime. I'll do the bedtime in the morning with them.
How much time do you talk to kids for, and how much time do you talk to wives for?
Well, usually it's like on the same call, so the kids will chime in, and so I'll do a couple of minutes with them, then with the wife, and talking about school, and then talking with the kids for a little bit. So it's just back and forth,
Okay. And is she like talking about family stuff, like like productivity issues, with the kids, stuff that's going on, with relatives, or is it just like, I watched the show and The Bachelor, and somebody got voted off the island? Like, what are you talking about?
No, it's usually sometimes with the relatives, and sometimes it's about the kids. Usually it's about stuff that's going on in our house, things that need to be done, things that we have on our to-do list, just, going over them. But it's not rarely do we ever talk about, entertainment or TV. It's very rare.
All right.
But but there is one thing. There is one thing with her issues with her in her relationships. So sometimes I have to be, like Rolo was saying, if you're talking to a woman and you're talking to her in a way that's feminine, then you become her girlfriend. So I'm very conscious of that. I don't want to be somebody where, and she's mentioned that sometimes I'm not, being a good soundboard, but at the same time, I don't want to come across as, as feminine.
Well, yeah, okay, so that's a good point. So, like, women have girlfriends and boyfriends, obviously, right? Girlfriend, she's going to get together and have a little drink and, talk about shit like, being a parent and a mother and raising kids and the stupid shit that they have to put up with, right? And they're probably going to complain a little bit about other things as well. Encourage her to have time with women for stuff like that. Deal with look, we have a family, we have kids. I want to make sure they're fed, they're doing their schoolwork, whatever's important to you. And then whatever's important to the relationship. And then that's it, right? But I mean, you don't want to get into a long, drawn out 2 or 3 hour conversation on a video call every day of the week. I mean, I'm assuming you have other things to do as well. But I mean, you're still a married guy, you're a family guy, you have small children to raise. It sounds like they're young still.
And they're very young. Yeah, my oldest is 7.
Yeah, well, you want to have a good relationship with that, right? Because I mean, that's those are the formative years. So give the kids the time they need, give her the time that she needs, but you have to judge when to end it, right? If it's like, okay, this is not a good, useful conversation for either one of us, then you're the guy. You know what, sweetheart, love you to bits. I got to run. I got to do this, or I have to, complete this task or whatever,
I understand.
And that's it. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love you. Good night. Boom. Right. That's it.
And then just one last question. What would you say about, keeping conversations, keeping them, keeping the spice in the conversations? Like in, the initial days, obviously it's very romantic and, there's a lot of genuine burning desire. But as the conversations, when you're in a long-term marriage, they're very dry.
How often do you see your family?
Well, lately it's been quite a lot. It's usually every 2 months.
Okay, so 2 months is good. So you see your wife for a little bit, you see the kids, for the 2 months, and you come back. Okay, fair enough.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got
November, it's going to be full time.
Yeah. So you're in an interesting long distance, long-term relationship because you're married, right? You're doing this for work, but you still get to see her. So I mean, there's still the intimacy. You still get to be with her. You still get to play and see the kids. Just keep it spicy, man. Just throw a little spice in there. I don't know, what your culture, is going to limit you to, but be as creative as you want. She's your wife, right? Sex is the glue that holds the marriage together, sort of thing, right? Yeah. Make sure that lots of that is going on. Whatever you feel comfortable with.
Got it. Thank you so much.
It doesn't have to be every single call, but at least hey, look, whatever it happens to be, but it better, just tell her, you know what? It just better put a smile on my face when I open up my phone.
Got it. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Play around with it. Okay, man. See you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. I'm going to get to you in a second, Ray. Hey, I'm 21, and I just got separated from the Air Force for migraines. Okay. I don't know what to do, but I have access to IT certifications through USO. The military. Is this something worth pursuing? IT certifications. I would be asking a slightly different question. You're 21. You got a lot of runway ahead of you. One, can I solve this migraine issue? Because you certainly don't want this derailing you from what it is that you want to do for the rest of your life. So that's dis-ease is something wrong in your body. So try to figure out what's causing the migraine issues and solve that. And then the other thing is not, I have access to IT certifications. Is that something worth pursuing? A lot of guys that I talk to that are shifting from employment to entrepreneur are shifting from employment to doing their own thing because they found themselves, doing something that they thought was worth pursuing, right? Do you like it? Do I legitimately enjoy doing this task? Do you like doing this job? That's what I would be asking. If you like screens and computers and dealing with that stuff, go for it. If not, look for something else. Charlie, very generous of you. Thanks, brother. Appreciate that. Okay, Ray, let's see what you got for me here. Money and status, he says in the private. Like to contribute some value and money and stat. Okay, what do you got for me, bud?
Hey, Thanks for having me, Rich. Basically, I saw your show a few weeks ago about you had like 5 careers to get into. Your main one was entrepreneurship, like high-level STEM, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, that's creating
And,
wealth. Yeah.
and I was thinking like, okay, well, maybe that's not the next step for some guys. Maybe that's just not available to them for some reason or another. And then I thought, okay, well, do what's available to you, right? So there's probably some guys in the community thinking like, well, how do I get there? And then maybe it's not the next step, but it's the second or third step. And so the advice I'm trying to give is do what's available to you. So for me, what does that look like? I'm a teacher, and the next step for me is school administration.
Oh, you're the teacher in California, right?
In Texas.
Oh, it's Texas. Have we spoken before?
We have, yes, sir.
Okay.
No, so I just thought, I've been thinking since then, like that's the next step for me. That's going to increase my money and my status.
Mm-hmm.
Becoming a school administrator and then continue to go up because that's the route that's available to me. So instead of pounding my head against the wall trying to figure out, well, how do I make more money? That's the next thing for me. It might not be the final step, but it's the next thing. And I think like for guys, it's like, well, I'm just, some guys in the community might just have only done high school and not really any other education. Well, try to become the manager where you're working at. Try to become a leader. That's like the other advice I was going to try and give is practice being a leader, and then practice being someone in a position to solve problems. Like you said, entrepreneurs are problem solvers.
I'll tell you this, like I cooked up the entire business model for my debt negotiation business from what I had learned in the other industry that I worked in prior, which was the collection industry. And I saw a hole in the marketplace that I thought I could fill. And I had the skills and the know-how and the connection, and I knew how to set it all up. So there's teachers that I know, former teachers that I know that are now entrepreneurs because they saw problems in the education system, in the board that they worked in, or whether it was Catholic, private, or public, whatever. They saw an opportunity to solve that problem, and because they worked in that industry, they left it, and then they go and created the solution, and they built these phenomenal businesses. You don't have to just quit your job and say, I'm going to go and do this. But if you see opportunities within your industry of something that can be done better, which you can charge money for, hey, you might have something. Try it out.
That's a good idea. I'm going to start brainstorming about that because there are a lot of problems with public education.
There's a ton of problems in education, big problems. I mean, right now, one of the biggest problems that I see is that the education system does not teach a curriculum that's useful to life, one, and two, there's a lot of wokeness, there's a lot of political correctness. Three, it's more of an indoctrination system for government agendas with children, right? And there's a lot of parents that don't want anything to do with that. And there's a lot of people that are still in lockdown that don't have the ability to maneuver. Like, is there a solution that you can apply to that where maybe you have an online school? I don't know, right? There's lots of things to consider.
I dig. Well, I just want to go on real quick and just offer what I thought of just taking the next step and doing what's available to you, whoever's out in the community.
All right. Sounds good, bud.
I appreciate it, Rich.
Thanks, man. All right. Okay. Smash the patriarchy. Bum, bum, bum. All right. So again, the join link, guys, is in the pinned top comment of YouTube. You can ask a question live on the topic, or just bring any question. Keep it wide open for you. Keep it wide open tonight. I have a question. I'm a super hard worker, pretty relentless. I have a business that were hit super hard by the lockdowns, and to keep going and having worked 70 hours a week. So self-employed, I'm a super hard worker, pretty relentless. Okay, so he owns a business that's been hit hard by the lockdown. So here's the answer to that question. The answer really, boils down to, why are you running a business that is vulnerable to something like a lockdown? Because if you think this is going to be the last one, like if you think that this is the only time they're ever going to say, wear a mask, stay home, social distance, stand on your dots, 6 feet apart, blah, 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 take this jab, take these jabs, take more pills. If you think this is going to be the only time that they ever use this bullshit, you're wrong. There's going to be Rovid 27 coming up in a few years' time. Mark my words. This is not the last time the government is going to use what they're calling a crisis to control society. This is the worst pandemic ever. Like a pandemic's supposed to eliminate a large chunk of the population, but if you're under 70 with reasonable health, with no comorbidities, your own immunity is got a 99.98% win rate. Like, that's pretty good. So why do they need to force us to stand on dots and wear masks and stay home and quarantine and not go out of certain boundaries and all that sort of stuff? And there's different levels of insanity that's going on out there depending on where you live. Why would you run a business in an environment that you see is in current existence and will continue to exist in the future? In my view, anyway. You can look the other way and say, no, Rich, you're wrong. This will be the last time. You're never going to see them lock us down again or make us wear masks or take things that, will give us the privilege of going to a restaurant or a gym or something like that. I think I'm right. So why would you want to continue to run a business in an environment where it can suffer when the government can impose restrictions on what you do? Set up a more anti-fragile business. If you don't know what anti-fragility is, you can apply stress to something. Like, let's take if we had a box and we filled it with sand and you dropped it, nothing happens to it, okay? It's not fragile, it's not anti-fragile, it's just robust, okay? But if you were to fill a cardboard box with like glasses or ceramic mugs or something like that, and you dropped it from a few stories, it would crash. That's why you see fragile written on boxes. It would just turn into a pile of glass or, ceramic pieces. So that's considered fragile. Anti-fragile is when you apply stress to something and it gets better. So Amazon is a great example of an anti-fragile business because it was already doing well before COVID. Then everything locks down. People are restricted in their movement. They can't go to so many places. There's a lot of people that have anxiety over going out to places because they think that they're going to die if they don't, wear a mask or if they get exposed to something that they think might compromise their immunity. So what do? They start shopping online like crazy. Amazon has had a phenomenal 2 years because of COVID. So a business like Amazon would be considered anti-fragile. So you want to develop your business and your lifestyle in such a way so that it's anti-fragile, so it's not reliant on external factors like being able to have a brick and mortar outfit where people can come and go sort of thing, and you might get locked down because of stuff like that. He said, our sales dropped 70% overnight. The vulnerability wasn't obvious until COVID. Yeah, so there you go. Like, COVID just poked a bunch of holes in your business and said, this is not robust, this is a fragile business. So what do? Do you keep running it that way, or do you pivot and restructure, reorganize the business so that it becomes more anti-fragile, so that something like COVID might actually benefit your business the way that it benefited Amazon's business, if you see what I'm saying? Bezos has made billions, in the last couple of years. The mom and pop shops, the small businesses are really the ones that suffered. This is the stupidity of the government that most people trust in is, oh, they must know what's right for us. And Bezos makes more billions, and the average small business that employs locals makes less. And then those locals that are working in the average small business, they have to sit at home collecting government handouts, which barely cover their living expenses, while the government racks up more debt, and that small business is closed down and its market share is diminished, or maybe it goes out of business. Okay. So you got to, when I talk about unplugging and becoming an unplugged alpha, it's not just about chicks, guys. It's not just about, the girls. There's a lot of other components to unplugging from lies that you've been hit with your entire life. And one of them, which I just covered, is this component of anti-fragility, with your own business. If you can become anti-fragile in your business, can you become anti-fragile in yourself as a person? Where when stress comes at you, you actually get better. Can you? Think about it. Can you? What can you do to make yourself at least more robust? We got fragility, we got robustness, and we got anti-fragility. This is a book, by the way. You can go look it up on Amazon. It's called Anti-Fragile. It's a book that I did a review on my channel. I think I was driving my M3, so this is many moons ago. This is like 2016 or so, 15 maybe. And I talked about this book that I had listened to in my car as I was driving to and from the office, solving all those problems. But you get the idea, right? Fragile, robust, anti-fragile. You want to try to create a life that's at least, at bare minimum, robust. Anti-fragile is even better, but at least robust, where shit comes at you and it's like it just bounces off you, right? I'm rubber, you're glue, it bounces off me, sticks to you, sort of thing, whatever. You get the point, right? Develop a strong masculine frame. Learn games so you understand, like sex, money, power, basically, right? Just do it, right? Thanks for the super chats, guys. Last Brobos dropped one too. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Links there, pinned in the top chat. If you guys have a question, if not, I can always wrap up early, man. It's entirely up to you guys. I can chop it up, and I'm like, what do you got for me? What do you want me to talk about? We got Chris Griffin dropping crypto in there. Crypto's on its 60-day decline. If you guys have been following Charlie and Miguel for a bit, I had them on for the launch of their course. And one of the things that I learned from them, it looks like Bitcoin's in a 60-day cycle, or it's shown a history of ups and downs over 60 days. So yeah, let's just, okay, we'll just drop, stuff that you want me to chop it up on in the chat, and I'll know what to talk about. But it looks like we're on the decline, so there's a good accumulation phase, a good buying opportunity. I'm looking for under 40, for Bitcoin, and the altcoins will of course go down with that as well too. But looking for under 40 for a little bit of piling. I just sold the R8, right? So maybe we'll turn R8 money into P1 money. We'll see. Climate lockdowns. What's that? I see you, Alex. I'll pull you in a second. This is a prelude to the climate lockdown out mandates and protocols. That's crazy control over something where there's no human element. COVID bottlenecks won't compare. Look, man, that's why I'm telling you guys, build a life for yourself, for your business if you're self-employed, where you're robust so that these things, because listen, as long as people keep voting for bigger government with more social programs and bigger taxes, hey, don't get pissed if you don't like what comes your way, because you reap what you sow, right? If you're out there voting for liberalism, for socialism, today is November 20th. It's the Canadian election today, okay? Justin Trudeau, that I'm not even going to say too many words about him, Fidel Castro's illegitimate bastard son. This guy's been ruining the country. But what do people vote for? They keep voting this guy in. So we'll see if this guy is still the Prime Minister of Canada come tomorrow or whenever they finish counting the ballots in a day or so. We'll see. But just look around you guys. If you see society voting for mediocrity, then you as a guy, it's incumbent upon you to prepare to live in a mediocre world and adapt. You just can't keep doing the same shit you've always done and expect a different result. That's the definition of insanity. If you see mediocrity, like if I see, for example, Justin Trudeau remains prime minister, okay, cool. I know that the mediocrity is going to continue and the decline will remain on the downward trajectory for the foreseeable future, whatever it is, 3 or 4 years that he might be, the prime minister. Fine. I know what I got to do because I can control that. Prelude to climate lockdowns. We covered that one. Where is the best place to send you a digital gift? I like Bitcoin. If you want to send me some Bitcoin, that's cool. There's a wallet ID that's pinned in the top. Or sorry, not pinned. It's in the description of all my videos. So not the live cast, but any of the other videos, it's in there. There's probably a PayPal link there or something like that. So, but thank you. I mean, the super chat, whatever. Whatever you want to do. Digital gift. Let's see here. Rich, my friend got sued by his competition for selling toothpaste and had to pay $80K for a lawyer. That makes me hesitant to become a millionaire. He went from $70K to $804 years after taxes. Yeah. So again, this is one of the other things that I've talked a lot about too is taxes are expensive. And if you live in one of these liberalized socialist countries, the tax rates are through the roof because they have to raise money to pay for all these social programs for people that aren't doing the work. So there's not a lot of motivation to do the work where you're at. So if you want more motivation, find a place that treats you better. Relocation is an A-OK thing. I've talked a lot about it. There's a few videos on my channel now. There's one on the Plane to Win series with David L'Esperance. I talked to him in the last 2 or 3 months about relocation. He's a former lawyer that helps successful people pick up and move to where they're going to be treated better, essentially, where tax rates are more favorable, where you're going to have more freedom. Maybe there's less lockdowns. You don't pay so much into a social system that doesn't benefit you whatsoever, and they do things with your money that you may not agree with. So the point is, don't complain about it. Do something about it. The sun's hot, water is wet. If you're in the sun and you're burning, go to the shade. If you're in the water and you're too tired to tread water, get out of the water, sort of thing, right? You have to identify these problems and not complain about them, but leave, right? You don't see people voting for more personal freedom, lower taxes, less intrusions into your personal life, telling you where you can and can't go and what you can and can't stick in your body. If you don't like that and you have the ability to maneuver, then maneuver. It's as simple as that. Total and free, they're in the upper levels. They're right at the top of the chart is where I like to keep mine. Trudeau is winning right now. I have a question. Where do you see yourself regardless of who wins, and where do you see Canada? From Ottawa. It's like, watch TUA 9 and 10. I talked about the decline. I live in Canada. Most of my references were from that perspective. So I already talked about, regardless of who wins, but you get the general idea. Alex, I'm going to pull you in, okay, bud? What's up, brother?
Hey, Rich. Good to see you.
How you doing, man?
I'm all right. I'm calling in because I wanted to run just an idea through you.
Sure.
I'm pretty active in your community, as you know, and some of the guys in there have learned a little bit more about my life and are advising a different career path and some ideas on how to make more money, with more stability. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you what I'm doing right now. I'm living in Montreal, going to McGill University, and studying with a virtuoso piano teacher. So that means he's world class. He's like one of the best in Canada. Mm-hmm. And that's why I came here. It took about 5 years of studying with him, having not studied piano at all, to get into this school. And I was competing with people 20 years younger. So it was kind of awesome that I got in. But the problem is with this career is that it's like you go through hell to hopefully one day get somewhere, and then you're teaching piano to kids and you wondered what the fuck happened to your time. And I love the instrument. I'm an artist, as you could probably tell. I'm a little bit eccentric. My mind works in its own way. So anyway, to get to the point, someone from another channel, he's probably here now, but he said that I should get into coding because it's just more stable. I'm pretty smart, so I could probably do it. And I thought that it was good advice. It was hard to take at the time, but it's probably pretty good. It would give me more of a stable future. But that means
I saw
that
your post on coding earlier.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to respond yet.
Yeah. I watched. Let me say one more thing. I watched a video of you biking like a number of years ago, and you said you gave one person advice, like to start a franchise, and it didn't really excite him. So I'm still learning. I'm exploring. I got some ideas from on what I can do to explore to see if coding would excite me and if I would like it. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
You can make a lot of money, especially working for Facebook, Google, stuff like that. I've done consults with guys that work for those companies, and they run anywhere from small to large teams, and they could be making anywhere from $700,000 to $1 million plus per year in compensation. Plus, they have other benefits as well, so they get paid quite well. The thing is, though, is it attracts a certain kind of person, and I'll tell you, if you find yourself doing it and you're like, "This sucks. This is not for me," then just stop. It doesn't matter how much it pays. Your soul will slowly die.
Yeah. I think the problem with me is that like some of the best times in my life are like when I've been on a film set, or when I've done a little bit of modeling, or I'm on stage. I've done a whole concert. One of the best moments of my life, and I love having that spotlight. I'm really good with a microphone. I haven't tried stand-up comedy because I can't even go to the bars because of the COVID thing. But that's what I like doing. But it's hard to make a living or be stable in that. So.
I see what you're saying, and like live performances are harder to do right now. I mean, there's some freedoms that have opened things up a little bit, but who knows if they ever lock that down again, right? I mean, like,
okay.
And like I'd like to say, I wish that you could do something like that on YouTube, but the only channels that I see getting immense views on, music, playing piano, playing keyboard, playing guitar, it's mostly hot chicks in giant push-up bras, exposing a lot of skin to get the views.
Yeah, it's awful.
And they're talented, like they play well, but it's like, people are not there to like, hear them play. They're there to look at them, right?
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
I mean, like you've got some difficulty. So, I mean, you got to find a way to try to like niche yourself out if you're going to do something where you're not relying on somebody saying, "Hey, Alex, we want to put you on a stage in the spotlight with all that sort of stuff," because, there's a good book that I'd like you to read actually. So just grab a pen and jot this down. It's called Choose Yourself.
Okay.
It's called Choose Yourself, and the author's name is James Altucher.
Okay.
And I want you to read it because he talks about a lot of the stuff that you're feeling and that you're experiencing. And one of the things that that you're going to be up against is you like to perform, you like the spotlight, you like the microphone sort of thing, and you love the instrument, but there's a gatekeeper to that says, "Hey, Alex, you have permission to come and do this," or "No, we have somebody else, that's going to do it." So here's the interesting thing about the world today. Most gatekeepers have been completely removed from limiting access to your success. I say this as somebody that wrote a book that's probably sold hundreds of thousands of copies now. I haven't checked the fucking data lately, but I didn't need a publishing company. I didn't need anybody's approval to write the words that I wanted to write. I just had to figure out how to create the content, get an artist to put together a cover that I liked, get it edited properly and, get it formatted, which I didn't know how to do. But I found contractors to do that. I put out the material, and then I sold my own book on a platform that I would never have had access to 20 years ago. I would have need like Penguin Publishing House to approve whatever it is that I want to write.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that the gatekeepers are now gone, right? So, I mean, if you want to perform and you want to showcase your skills, you don't need to be on a stage in an auditorium full of 1,000 people. You could, legitimately do it in front of a nice, camera mic setup in a studio that you build yourself and perform to anybody that wants to hear it, right? Like I have,
that makes sense.
It says over here, I got 730 people watching. So I essentially have a stadium of 730 people watching live right now, right? So like the gatekeeper's gone. I don't need anybody's permission to do this. All I have to do is not violate terms of service, right? That's it.
Good luck. Yeah.
Good luck with that as things get more difficult. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? But I mean, like, performing music is not nearly as risky as that, right?
I see what you're saying.
See what I'm saying?
I do hear what you're saying. I mean, you've influenced tremendous amount of people, like the ripple.
Yeah.
It just keeps going. Yeah, I see what you're saying. And like
By the way, I didn't realize that you lived in Canada. I forgot because I talked to so many guys in there.
I do, yeah.
But Maxwell's coming to your province as well, so I definitely get fitted out with those shirts.
Oh no shit. Yeah, I saw that. I went to that site. Yeah, I got all of their employees are fully vaccinated. Good to know.
Cool. I don't care.
No, it's just funny that they put that on their site. But I need to do that. Thank you.
All right. You good, bud?
I'm great.
All right. I'll see you later. Thanks. Peace. Let me get these super chats here to see what I got. Thoughts on project management as a career. This is my current trajectory. Started as implementation consultant, then promoted into the role, killing it. It can be exciting but risky depending on client. Depends what you're managing. Depends what you're managing, really. I need some more frame around it. And it really depends on what your long-term goals are. I mean, like, do you want money? Do you want to have the ability to make it rain? Do you want fuck you money? Do you want to go fuck yourself and die money? Like what are you talking about building here? Rich, you think someone who doesn't own up to their own actions or selves and unachieved mastery will perpetuate mediocrity, decay, and authoritarianism. I'll say this. Part of the reason why things are the way they are today, and if you're not familiar, again, episode number 9 and 10, the last 2 episodes I did were basically on the decline and how to thrive and prosper in that environment. A lot of it is you guys have heard me talk about, you're always going to become the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. You spend time with 5 broke, dumb, fat losers, you're going to be the 6th. Now, take that number and then multiply it into 8 billion, which is the world. Okay? Population of the world is about 8 billion. You will be the average of the population of the world. The problem is that the population of the world is growing, and the quality, the skills of the humans that live in the world today is declining. There's a whole bunch of reasons for that, which I could put into another Unplugged Alpha episode and really dive deep into it. But that's the reality of things. So what do you do in an environment like that? It should be easy for you to shine. It really should. Because a lot of, again, if the average is down here, all you have to do is not be down here. All you got to do is be up here or up here or up here, right? Like the bar's set so low. So if these people want to be average, they want to be mediocre, they want to decay, they want authoritarianism, they want somebody to tell them what to do all the time, then fine, let them hang out there. See what the rule book, what the rule book looks like, what you can do to maneuver, what your options are, and then start to level yourself up here. And you're going to leave people behind. You're going to leave friends behind. You're going to maybe leave family behind. You're going to want to keep them at arm's length, or maybe you're not going to want to talk to them at all. I don't know. Okay. But as you change and as you level up, you have to be okay with walking away from, some of those things. It is what it is. Got a big super chat there from Chris. Thank you, sir. And I think I'm all caught up. I'm not going to have time to get to the rest of you guys in the waiting area because I got to hop on a Zoom for my business tier. If you guys are interested in learning more about my community, Alex is in the community. You can just go to entrepreneursandcars.com/community. There's a video there that explains the 3 different tiers. The business forum is sold out. I'm not going to open that probably for the near foreseeable future. But there's 2 other tiers you can check out if you want to learn more about that. All right, so I'm going to wrap up on that note, guys. If you want to grab some of the Tactical Soap channel sponsor right there, coopersoap.com. It's over my shoulder over here. I don't have a wide view, but you've heard me talk about it. Scott's been a big supporter of the channel, and it's a great product. It's pheromone infused, doesn't have any endocrine disruptors. It's the good stuff. I will see you guys next Monday. Make sure you're on my email list. If you're not, get on it. I dropped that in the banner, below earlier. It's about a monthly, or I'm going to say every month to month and a half, I send out a new email with some of the content that I've left behind the paywall or private, which I'm going to release to the email list. Check it out. Get on there. We'll see you guys in the next one. John, I see you in the waiting area. I'm going to send you the Zoom link on Instagram DM, so you can hop on and ask me the business questions there. Have an amazing night, guys. Peace out.